Well, salutations, Stan the Fan Charles.
Greetings back to you, Mr. Clark.
We are. Here's where we're at. You're not losing money if you're betting with us this season. You're not getting rich,
But
but
you're having a lot of fun.
it's. I think they say the real money is the friends you made along the way. I think that's what they say. That's the real winnings when it comes to betting on football, and you're doing well in that department,
If you
Stan.
can bet football for the whole season and break even, you're pretty
I,
good.
I would say that is a win.
Yeah, yeah.
Stan, we both were thrown off by betting the Bears last week. That was
Yeah.
harmful. What was the recap for week 8?
Yeah, we both had week 8. We both had the Bears, so that was a loss for us. I had Indy minus the 14 and a half points over, help me, Tennessee.
Yes.
Yes, and they clobbered Tennessee. And Cam Ward, who's still struggling as a young quarterback that has no offensive line. Your lock winner was Pittsburgh getting
Mm,
3. You
mm,
looked pretty good in the first
mm.
half, but Green Bay came back with an absolutely scintillating second half and were victorious going away in Pittsburgh. My lock loser was Cleveland Browns getting 7 points at New England. New England is suddenly a very hot team, as we'll talk about with your pick for lock loser. Your lock loser was the Dallas Cowboys getting 3.5 points, and Denver kind of thrashed them.
Took care of
So
the
you
business.
were you were 1-2. I was 2-1. That moved us into a statistical tie for the season, but the parlay twist has you up by 1 point there.
So that's where we're at as we come into week 9. Stan, our picks are brought to you by 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org. If you or a loved one has a gambling problem, there is hope. Give them a call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. And you can go to that website, helpmygamblingproblem.org. There's lots of things they can do for you. They can talk to you, try to work you through whether or not it actually is a gambling problem, whether the person you're dealing with has an addiction that needs to be dealt with. They can even, put your name on lists so that you can't enter casinos. There is lots of things they can do. If you voluntarily call or text 1-800-GAMBLER or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org. And, of course, also brought to you by the Costas Inn.
Let me just add, we just did a Zoom. I did a Zoom with the folks from Problem Gambling. Heather Eshelman, who's the new director of operations, took over for Mary Pfeiffer, and one of her certified peer support specialists, really good guy named Ken Wolfson. We had a nice chat last week, and it's up on the site. Okay,
Very good. Very good.
Costas Inn, both locations up and churning out a lot of good food. 4100 North Point Boulevard, 410-477-1975. If you're planning a crab feast of any size out there, they're still serving crabs. The new location, same great menu minus steamed crabs, and that same great Costas Inn flavor and fare is at the Timonium right next to OTB in the Maryland Fairgrounds,
All
the
right.
upper deck there.
Stan the Fan, let's start with the
All right.
Ravens game, which is, of course, the Thursday night game this week down in Miami. Lamar Jackson is back and will start
Oh my
this week
God,
for the
that's so
Baltimore
exciting!
Ravens. Well,
So exciting.
it's very exciting. I
Yeah,
assure you, if you got to watch the Ravens, very exciting.
yeah.
The Ravens, with that said, are 7.5-point road favorites against a Dolphins team that is coming off their best performance in a 34-10 win over the Falcons this past week.
One question is that game? It's the Amazon Thursday night game.
Yeah, I
Will
have
it be
not seen a
broadcast
local I have
locally?
not seen a local TV broadcast for it,
Okay,
Stan. So I
all
don't
right.
I don't know what the story is there.
So if you don't have Amazon
Yeah,
Prime, you
yeah,
better get to a friend's house that has it.
correct. Time to do
Yeah.
it. All right, Stan. 7.5 points. That's the
I'm
number.
thumbs up for Ravens, thumbs down if I like the
Very
Dolphins. All
good.
right.
In 3, 2, 1,
I was
Um,
steadfast. I kept my thumb up the entire time.
Look, it's still a road Thursday night game.
And the
Like
home
that.
teams have a great advantage in that.
Yeah, that concerns me. And 7.5 is a big number. I mean, like we talk about it all the time. Like in the NFL, you don't like numbers like that at all because goofy things can occur. But I have gotten the sense, like you watched Lamar Jackson this week, and I don't want to make too much of us learning that he was the one that ordered the ping pong tables out of the locker room, but like he just kind of seems like he's got an edge about him right now, and he's got something to prove. And I've had a lot of gambling people in my life that said, I don't care what the number is, the first game back for Lamar Jackson, it could be 20 and I'm betting the Ravens in that game. Like there's this sense that Lamar Jackson is going to be on a rampage. And so with a little bit better defensive performance, I'm still reluctant to believe that the defense has completely turned, but it definitely has been better the last two times out. So I think that combination of things is enough for me to have faith in the Ravens tomorrow.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Glenn. And the only thing that gave me a little pause was how easily they beat the Falcons last week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was an absolute thrashing. And with the short week, not a lot of time to overthink. I thought maybe they'd play a good game. But with Lamar coming back and the defense showing some signs of life, um, it's hard not to pick the Ravens in this football game.
Yep, that's where I'm at. All
All
right,
right. So we
Stan.
both like the Ravens. It's
I,
your week to go
yeah,
first.
I had first pick this week, and an interesting slate of games to pick from. Stan, I ultimately looked at a team that's coming off a bye that looked like they maybe again were reasserting themselves as perhaps the best team in the NFC. I love the Lions. I again, these numbers they will always scare you. 8.5 is an insane number, and again sets yourself up for goofy things to occur. But the Vikings getting J.J. McCarthy back, is it possible that that means they'll be better than what they've been with Carson Wentz because Carson Wentz has been abominable? Maybe. But the truth is we have like one quarter of J.J. McCarthy looking like an NFL quarterback to work with. We don't really have any evidence that getting J.J. McCarthy back actually makes a difference for the Vikings. The Lions, well-oiled machine. They come out healthier out of a bye. I think this is a spot where they could win by 3 touchdowns. I think this is a game where they could just win going away. So
Yeah,
8.5 doesn't scare me here.
I wholeheartedly agree with you in that one quarter. If I'm not mistaken, that was a week that I think I had the Bears
In
in
week
in
one,
that game
yeah.
against and they were up like 14-0 or 17-3, and then JJ McCarthy was like magic for about
Mm-hmm.
a quarter and a half. Uh, I couldn't agree more with you. My lock winner, I'm following what I watched you do last week, where you took Pittsburgh at home,
Mm-hmm.
getting 3 points. I'm I'm following that lead. How easily Green Bay beat them. I don't believe in the Pittsburgh Steelers at all. Haven't all season long, and I think Indy can go in there and win this game by like 10 points or more. Uh, I like the Indianapolis Colts going to Pittsburgh. They are a 3 point favorite over the Steelers. I think the Steelers are sort of a charade, if you will, if that's the right word. Don't believe in them. Think Rodgers as the season goes on. I didn't like his body language. Seemed to be bitching about a lot of stuff, and I think he's going to have a lot to bitch about this week against Indy.
Well, and maybe the bigger problem being they spent a boatload of money on their defense, and their defense stinks.
Yeah, yeah.
Stinks on ice. I get
It's
it.
funny. It's funny. As bad as the Ravens were, 2 weeks from now, we may be saying they clearly have the best defense in the division.
Well, I mean, the Browns are going to have a better defense, but they kind
Yeah,
of don't count because they're so
yeah,
piss
they're
poor that
just
like
awful.
they
Yeah,
almost don't count as a team in the NFL. They definitely have a better defense, but yes, of the
yeah,
3 teams that matter, you
yeah,
might end up being right about that.
yeah.
Um, I
Go
said
ahead.
I agree with you on most accounts. I always do get scared because Mike Tomlin can coach, and you just never know when that week
Yeah,
is going to be that he can make a
I
difference.
agree. I like
But
Tomlin. I
I
like
get
Tomlin.
it. I get the pick.
Yeah,
My lock loser this week, Stan, is a little bit about them. It looks like Michael Penix is going to return to practice this week, and he's got to be better, although he didn't look better against the 49ers. He's got to be better than what they got from Kirk Cousins last week. My God, Kirk Cousins looked like he couldn't play football anymore. But there's still, it's too Jekyll and Hyde for me with the Falcons. They've looked good in moments, but they've looked wretched in others, and the Patriots have become too steady in this process, and that is not a significant number for a game that's in Foxborough at 5.5. I love the Patriots here, so the Falcons are going to be my lock loser. They have not figured out how to use Bijan Robinson consistently, which makes zero sense to me when you have such a unique weapon. Love the Patriots in this spot, so the Falcons are my lock loser, getting 5.5 points in Foxborough.
Yeah. Boy, I would love to have Mike Vrabel as my coach. I absolutely love him, and it's an amazing job he's done turning that team around.
Well, the thing is, the last two teams that had him, the Titans and the Browns, they're doing great. So why would they want to have Mike Vrabel? I mean, they've got lots going for them in those two cities.
Yeah. Anyway, my lock loser is a team that's had about 12 days of rest. I can't remember. Were they the Thursday night game 2 weeks ago? Seattle? They played Houston.
And then that was...
Because they've had like 12 days off.
Yeah, hang on a second. I'm trying to make sure I have this right. I know what you're... The Seahawks did play the Texans. That was the Monday night game.
Okay.
And then they had the bye week. And then
so they've had the bye week.
Yeah.
The Seattle travels across the country. Earlier in the season, they traveled across the country for a day game and thrashed the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-17. I don't think the Washington Commanders are nearly what the Steelers were at the time or had the mystique of. So the fact that Seattle is playing a night game too, it's not the 1 o'clock game. They're playing a night game on Sunday. I think that the Washington Commanders plus 3.5. I like Seattle to win that game. I think I'm a big fan of McDonald as a coach, and I think Sam Darnold is coming into his own, really is coming into his own. And I like Seattle in the game.
The only thing I would say is I kind of feel the way about if Jaden Daniels comes back. If he comes back, I don't know. I feel like that's going to be a galvanizing moment for that team, but they are limited on the whole. They are clearly not as good as they were a year ago.
Yeah. They've regressed, and he's sort of playing a lot more. I know he's been injured, but a lot more like Stroud last year, in his second year. He's taken a step back to me. Still a big fan. And Stroud, incidentally, is coming on and playing some good football now.
Yeah, he's looked good. You're right about that.
So let's recap it. Glenn and I both like the Baltimore Ravens, minus 7.5, even though the short work week and the travel to Miami. We like the Ravens. Glenn's best bet, lock winner, is the Lions at home. 8.5 favorites over Minnesota, despite the fact it's an in-division game. The Lions are getting stronger, and Minnesota's got quarterback problems. I like, as my lock winner, the Indianapolis Colts minus 3 points. Sean Staken takes his really one of the best teams in football this year, and they're playing a Steelers team that I think is about to do a slow fade. Or maybe not so slow. I think they're going to lose a few games over the next few weeks. I have Indy minus 3 at Pittsburgh. Glenn's lock loser is the Atlanta Falcons plus 5.5 playing at New England, the much improved New England Patriots. My lock losers, the Washington Commanders, getting 3.5 points against a much improved Seattle Seahawks team that's coming east off the bye.
Very good. Tomorrow night after the game, hang out with us for a late night Project Game Day, pressboxonline.com/game day. Immediately following Ravens-Dolphins, myself, Rita, KZ, Andrew Stecka, and former Ravens linebacker Tyus Bowser, who's no longer a bad luck charm after this past Sunday. So come hang out with us for Project Game Day after the game. And Stan, you will be back again on Monday talking baseball, correct?
That's our last show of the season. This World Series is turning into a
Yep.
really interesting one. I thought that after the 18 inning win and with Otani on the mound last night against Bieber, I didn't think the series was going to go back to
Yep. You and
Toronto.
I both.
It's definitely going back to Toronto. The question after tonight, will the Blue Jays have a 3-2 lead or will the Dodgers have a 3-2 lead?
Yep.
Tonight's starting pitchers are Yasevich for Toronto and Blake Snell
Yep.
for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
All right, Stan. We will talk to you again next week. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Glenn.